Uh, on his old ticket or the new one?
On his old ticket, yeah, we're not gonna send anywhere new ones, we'll just promote them as they join the meeting.
Gotcha. The old one, old. Because we're gonna set you as a presenter directly on Zoom.
Correct. And if you can tell, if you send an email to the rest of the people telling them the same thing, tell them to join us as soon as possible. So I can just put them-
And I can just, it's Zoom, right? It's Zoom platform, so I can do it. I mean, once they, but yeah.
So basically, well, we'd have to get you to share and do all that fun stuff too.
Okay.
But you'd have to just go to participants and then go over to attendees.
Yeah, attendees.
And then there'll be the three ellipses on the right hand side and they'll say promote to.
Make them co-host,
Yeah.
is that co-host?
It's, I think it's present or panelist.
Okay,
That's what you want to
panelist,
switch
yeah.
over there. Let me see if he's got a panelist. No?
No,
Okay, so yeah, as soon as he joins, I can show you how to. do
Okay.
it too.
No problem.
It's got the minute.
Have you seen anyone, in the business connect group?
No, when I was coming in, no. But
No,
you
yeah,
can-
because when I was coming in, there was no one there. And, did you get it,
No, right.
Brian? No rush.
It's just one. My Zoom for some reason.
It's asking to update your Zoom.
Right.
It always happens like that. Yeah, because we're gonna need the products. I need to talk to Jamie. They're gonna provide the aqua tabs. So people can, ceramic filter, can be any ceramic filter that they have in a membrane filter. Or even like, yeah. Maybe two membrane filters, depending on how many people we have here. We might need to split, in five.
Yeah.
So, yeah, two membranes. Two ceramic, or if the ceramic filter are too big, two aqua tabs and one ceramic filter.
Yeah.
If they're there. Yeah. And what about you, Brian? How are you doing there? Good. Able to join?
I'm getting there.
No problem. Jamie knows. Okay, Sunil?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
As the person I'm doing this, I want to be, make sure I show you the right way.
Of course. I will also message.
Brian Reed.
Brian Reed, yeah. We can see you here, Brian.
Here, so,
Just one second, Brian. Let me just.
just, yeah, it's the ellipses, and then you just hit promote to analyst.
And change. So I click on his name, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Promote to analyst.
There
Oh,
you go.
yeah.
It takes a
It
second.
take like 3 or 4 seconds to get it there.
And he's there.
Okay, thank you. You're already a panelist. You're set up as a panelist, Brian. Thank you so much.
Is he gonna be sharing anything or?
No, he's not gonna be sharing.
So if he's gonna be speaking, Brian, can you turn on your camera? And let's test your audio real quick.
Do I need to? No. Can I have like a conflict of camera? No? Because we're in Teams.
But I just want to see if it's going through there.
Yeah. I just.
Yeah.
It should, oh, are you talking,
You know,
as you're
I'm
talking
talking
to him?
right now.
It might do a little
and the
feedback.
camera is here, you
Yeah.
know, maybe it's gonna get a conflict, the camera might not,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah, you might want to turn it off of Teams and.
Brian, I think, let's turn off Teams, so you can turn on your camera and Zoom, okay? Yeah, it's too many devices, so I'm gonna turn off Teams, okay? See you on the other side.
You'll be able to hear it now. Can you hear us, Brian?
Um, I don't know about today, but he lives in the Netherlands. Brian, can you hear us? Mhm. No, I'm gonna also, I'm gonna send an email to the other.
I'll just leave the panelists up here.
Yeah, I
And then
know.
later just minimize it.
Yeah,
And if you need any help, give us a holler on that phone right there, or you can,
just
Yeah.
use the, okay, yeah, thank you so much.
I'll come back around right before we.
Yeah,
All is in working order?
yeah, it's just like the ones joining online, you know,
Oh.
it's always
It's hard,
the challenge, and yeah,
yeah,
technology.
yeah.
Um,
It can be a great help or a great hindrance.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
We just grabbed a few, so I don't know where you want them, but, I can do a walkthrough as well. This one is membrane.
Yeah, it's membrane, I know you.
Okay, great. And then we just grabbed a few things. I just grabbed two different kinds of aqua tabs to
That's
show
great.
the different packaging.
That's great, that's awesome.
And then this is also
And then-
membrane.
I can see you now, right?
Hear you?
And
It's like Sawyer, yeah.
So we have the ceramic, all we have is Mazava really, and then the other ceramic is a cold stream, but we don't have the housing for it, we just have the cartridge.
Can you hear
So
us,
we can show
Brian?
the cartridge,
Yeah,
but I don't know whatever you
We
want.
can show the part.
Okay, I can grab the cold stream then.
where shall I keep anyway?
Yeah, let's.
Not, not many presenters are there, I'm
I know.
in person,
Good, how are
so
you?
we can have this place. for
Yeah,
filters.
yeah.
Was he good? Did he hear us?
I will click
Not
the
yet,
Mazava one.
not yet.
Brian, can you hear us? I can see him.
Oh, you can see him?
Yeah, he's here.
Cartridge.
Brian, can you say something?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. So, what's your name?
Marcio.
Marcio Paul.
I can say something.
You want the audience?
It's all good.
Perfect.
We can hear
If
you.
you want the audience here to see him, you just have to drag him over to,
Is that this side or this side?
I believe it's this.
This, because the screen is here. Yeah, this side, okay, makes sense. So we drag him to the,
To the right. I'll just leave him over to the right here.
okay, so drag, yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect.
That's great. Hey, Eric, morning, how are you?
Nikki's in on this, right?
Yes, she is.
I'm doing great. I hope you're having a good one.
Yeah, me too.
It's beautiful
Doing
day
good.
out there.
It is.
The colors have like gotten better since we've been here.
Are you flying back,
So
afternoon?
this, run a little after 5.
Okay, yeah, just like me.
I'm just up to DC. It's like an hour and 10-minute flight or something.
I'm back. I'm Texas, San Antonio.
Okay. It's like a few hours.
Yeah, I go to Charlotte and then grab another flight there. So it's 2 flights.
Yeah, it's a great thing about my flight is it's just a straight shot to Baltimore, no connector. I got lucky, next year, assuming I come, one of my,
Brian, I'm just,
he drove.
sending an email to Caetano, Camille and Joe, just to give the instructions about all of this, you know.
That's fine. Do you have 2 microphones on?
There's one microphone here that I think, can you see it already?
I mean, we have one that's.
Can you see the bigger one?
Yeah.
That's already made.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm going
Is there another microphone? There's a bit of
for the audience,
echo.
yeah, we have another microphone for the table that we can walk around in the room. So there's another one here. Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see
Is it
the
turned
camera?
off?
Turn off?
Yeah, is it turned off? The roving mic, is it turned off?
Hello. No, this.
There was just a bit of echo. I think there were 2 microphones working.
Oh, I see.
Down here, we complained about that.
You guys have not. But that's a great remote. Typically, I'm one at the point.
How about now? Let's echo.
The same thing, I can come in.
Yeah, that sounds clearer.
Yeah, because I turned off this one. This one is off now. There's just the one in the table, this big one here in front of me.
30 or?
I think it's 8:30.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just
Good.
send it to Camille and
Yeah.
Caetano.
Yeah, I gotta just leave my bag here.
Next, what else? Oh, this is great. So do you have a flash drive?
I should have.
Okay, thank you so much.
Last day.
Nice.
I know.
Hmm.
I'm whipped. I'm sure you guys are.
I'm exhausted.
You're doing a lot more here than I do.
No problem.
Right, Susan?
I'm a bit tired actually. I had a headache, so I took a tablet and then I think,
You have a headache?
yeah, I think I got the, looks like I became sick here yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's okay, last day. Joy the weekend, no problem, no problem. But what did I all like our meeting yesterday?
Oh, I was actually gonna say something before you even said something. I was gonna say he was really like, he was like, oh, okay, I think there's like some good potential to do some thinking with cost about maybe some stuff. So that was great. Yeah, yeah.
I just grabbed 2 more treatments in case you wanted more treatment represented, but you are welcome to,
Thank you so much.
to not
Yeah,
put
thank you so
everything you
much
want.
for
Yeah.
support.
Are you joining us to this session?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Okay, then if any questions, we'll.
Yeah,
find you.
Yeah, if there are
You
questions,
better get your cheat cards.
I know, I was trying to, I gotta get the flyers out.
please.
Okay, I'll see you guys soon.
See you soon.
Yeah.
I actually, I would put one of those flyers by each of those cards.
Yeah.
Are nice.
Yeah.
Wanna go grab, should I go grab them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, she said flyer for the respective treatment systems.
they have info cards for each one. They're really useful.
Oh, they
Did you
do?
see them? Yeah, yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I was
I
sitting
was
there.
for some of them, Uzima. Yep. And then this is the stuff. Yeah. Should I go grab at least 2 of them?
Yeah.
Is this, oh, this is MasterCard? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Putting all the presentations here, set up the videos, the recordings.
I will sit here only, Marcio.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, sure. October. Go. So. Let me just see if Caetano's video is working. Let me check all the presentations, all the videos.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our UNC side event. My name is Camille Zimmer, and I'm a recent PhD graduate from the University of Victoria in Canada in civil engineering, and I'm here to talk about
Were you able to hear that? Sorry. Did you hear that, Brian? Sorry, Brian.
I can hear that. But you've now got the picture of the room as your main video feed, rather than the PowerPoint.
So not the PowerPoint.
So I can see you and the screen behind you.
Oh,
so
but this is.
before I just saw the screen.
Okay, I see, but that's a good question. I don't know how to do that. I think that they always see the big room because the way that the system is set up is to have someone here speaking, you know. Let me see how I can do that.
Yeah. No, a minute ago, I had the main screen was the PowerPoint, and I had the picture of the room in a little box off to one side. So when you started the video, that's when it changed for some reason.
When I start video, that changed. Okay, yeah. Oh, we have two recordings. Because what we did is let's record the session in case they could not join, activity issues and all of that. How can I make because he told me once I play the video, he saw the big room instead of the video. So it's actually it's not. Are we sharing? I think so. It's all right. I'm going to share. It's not. Yeah, that's. Okay.
So now if you play it, it should go.
That's working.
Yeah.
That's back to the big room.
I don't care how you want to move it around, I just think those informational.
I'm putting this other.
Everything that I share, the audio is going to be shared. Sometimes, right? I mean, because there are two videos.
Shall I grab?
But every time
And it's,
that I share, do I need to start no, no, it's already yours, sorry. So, because one of the videos, what they did is to direct to the PowerPoint. So once I hit here.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our UNC side event. My name is Camille Zimmer, and I'm a recent PhD graduate from the University of Victoria in Canada in civil engineering, and I'm here to talk about
That's coming over well.
PhD
A
work.
little bit quiet, but not bad.
On challenge testing of water treatment devices under field conditions.
And okay, great. Do I need to stop sharing? No, I don't need to stop sharing. I leave it like that. Okay. And the other one is a video.
Yeah.
Can we invite into the
I'm trying to see what I'm doing now.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all? Good.
That's somebody else's,
That's-
just.
that's-
It'd probably be easier.
Yes,
just-
there is no other option.
Yeah, there's no.
That's it?
Yeah.
What you're gonna have to do is if you.
Hi, I'm Jo Hershen and I've been working at the University of Surrey
Whatever.
alongside CAWST to develop individual sanitary inspection forms for specific household water treatment processes. In this presentation, I'm going to give you some background into the purpose of the work and then talk you through what we've done so far and our next steps.
Turn it off, you have to see it over there, yeah, you're good.
That's the only thing.
Sanitary inspection is a
Well, if you wanted to leave it there, it'll pop up, once you double click it in here, it'll pop up there.
Oh, now I have to come back over here.
Right, try it.
Now, I will see one other time.
Now I need to drag.
Yeah, drag it over.
Hi, I'm Jo Hershen and I've been working at the University of Surrey alongside CAWST to develop individual sanitary inspection forms for specific household water treatment processes. In this presentation, I'm going to give you some background into the purpose of the work and then talk you through what we've done so far and our next steps. Sanitary inspection is a tool that's been used for many decades to help identify and manage risks to drinking water quality. The WHO have provided a set of standardised checklists aimed
There, okay, and then you can just leave it in the background and just start your other PowerPoints. Do that, or we can minimize it. And then
Oh, yeah.
minimize it, and then when you click on it, different back, push it back up here.
Make sure that
And it'll pop up there. And then you have to start it from a.
Okay, so but it's minimized there. Okay.
Hi, I'm Jo Hershen and I've been
No,
working at the
from the
University of
beginning.
Surrey alongside
Minimize
CAWST
that.
to develop individual sanitary inspection forms for specific household water treatment processes. In this presentation, I'm going to give you some background into the purpose of the work and then talk you through what we've done so far and our next steps.
Back to being just in case.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we'll minimize it,
Minimize it.
and then you just click on it in the folder, and it'll pop right up there.
Okay, that's perfect. Oh, thank you so much. That's it. Thanks for that. Oh, good, Brian.
Yes, all good.
Okay.
The online's not live yet, is it?
It is. Sorry,
No, that's okay.
but there is just one person.
Oh,
Brian Reed, the presenter.
okay. We're in the restroom one more time. Hey there.
But no, they can't hear.
Oh, they can't. Oh, okay. Strategizing.
Oh, let me get.
Thank you so much.
With the.
That's right.
All the information in this one?
Yes, they are. By the date, I put in the same folder, UNC 2023, but I created a new folder, October 27, Friday.
You need code of the possible. You have code.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see if it pops up? Do you?
Yeah.
Can you?
I'll just, yeah, comment.
See if it works.
Yeah.
And click and see if it takes you to the form. That's great, that's great, that's great. Awesome.
Wow. And so what do you, did you want that or is Oh.
Well, I did.
I know Fridays, like this morning came seen earlier than other days.
Yes.
But I was in here.
I was getting so tired.
Oh, shit, you got it.
You got it?
So fast.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
Oh, okay, then it's different.
Well, I grabbed some of our catalog, if somebody has questions about a lot of products. They can form on their.
Yeah, I mean, like, I did want to be
Always.
and we are so.
No, that's okay.
When we do the webinar. The product thing. Please do.
And so many times when you travel, somebody wants it. You look at it. Digital catalog is nice, but I'm like, exactly, good paper. Yeah.
I have a
Even another.
paper calendar in my bag. Yeah. I'm always going to. Let me know. So okay. She probably heard us saying, I have a paper calendar. She's like, I'm here for you. If you need anything.
You bring just from.
Yeah. Sure. Come on, Nikki.
Come on, Nikki.
Oh,
Step
I'm
up
gonna
here.
have a picture. Okay, yeah. I have to still mute everything
Deactivate your phone.
because I swear, nobody calls me until.
So you're in a session.
Get that you can see that 2%.
And take a picture of all your products.
Oh, there you go.
You're getting better. I resisted the urge to say, take it back. Diana Carter. But now, right?
I did one of the plenary speakers the other day. Oh, it was all over the back.
Yeah, and then on Friday this year, we gotta get you guys out.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's like we all have to. Be
I know everybody has to get it. I remember when there was what was the group called that did it was always Friday every year. It was on clay pot manufacturing.
Oh, yeah, a piece. Wow.
Always did their
And
Friday.
it was always a good session.
Right.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Network, there ain't no meeting,
Yeah.
it's on Friday.
Yeah,
And that's a way to keep people here.
right. Yeah, just say that.
Network meeting now is in November, so
It's
it's
November,
here.
we got that.
November 8th.
8.
Yeah, I think that was a good move, just so you can be involved with everything.
And also people, can join from anywhere,
Right.
don't need to come.
Yeah,
here.
now it's so much more virtual.
Yeah,
8 AM is Calgary time, means it will be 10 AM Eastern time.
I feel kind of guilty being in the Eastern.
That's so nice.
It's always, I'm always the least inconvenient.
I feel bad for all the team around.
Yeah. So, but at least that means 8 AM means 10 PM in Cambodia.
yeah.
India is around 8:30.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard sometimes when all your morning meetings, you feel bad because they're up late at night. I mean,
Yeah,
um,
I think I'd rather have super early morning.
yeah,
Early bird and,
yeah, that's, I.
Otherwise,
I
I'm
used to hate your
worried
stuff, I
all
do
day
at 5
long,
and
I
6
forget about
It's
it.
just easier.
yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, doing good.
8:30.
Yeah, it's time, but let's wait like 2 more minutes, couple more minutes and see if. Last day,
Thursday early.
Wednesday, all the other sessions were full, right, and then Friday comes.
What I noticed, even yesterday, in between sessions, like the people just mingling was half as.
Yeah,
And
it's, the drop off
Oh,
is just
yeah.
nuts,
Thursday dinner is like the peak.
yeah,
Like,
I feel bad for the people who can lunch.
Right.
And then saw they ran out of rice, so like,
Oh.
I just felt bad, because it is always so good, to like. it's like, how do you know?
How do we have enough? Oh,
Who's
Wait,
staying, and are they the big eaters?
right. Well, we thought about doing a Thursday evening event. Like,
Oh, yeah.
that's that's really a hard guess if you really gotta catch everybody.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So we did a Monday manufacturer dinner out, but that's tough. 'Cause
Where'd you guys
Can't do Wednesday. We just went down to Nantucket.
The fish place,
No, it's a cute little restaurant bar, just down just towards 40 over here. I have no idea if I'm pointing the right direction.
no, I don't know.
You go out, you take a right. it's
whatever
down
say, I'm following it.
You got there on the right day, you don't need to know which way. it is.
I'm here,
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it, I was driving around.
yeah, it's nice, it's a cute little brick, I mean, it's really cute ones. Last year we did bin 44 and this year I went. We don't need a screen for bin 44.
I don't know.
It's a nice steakhouse, the other.
Oh, it's a really great vegan place nearby called Coco.
I went to,
The opposite.
the other night, I went to, what was it, Lemon and the Indian place straight across. Lemon and Lime.
Oh, I
Indian.
did that. That was
Delicious.
It's a nice little courtyard area to sit, right?
Yeah.
It's right.
Last night we
Or
went there.
McDonald's.
Oh, did you?
People were sitting in the backyard, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really good is those staying at the Aloft, is that high tower, right?
I haven't been in there, yeah.
Remember I went.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
nice.
I again,
I went last year.
some friends with Lexi, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good morning.
It's really good.
Very good, yeah, yeah.
Morning.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's start.
You're gonna echo it to the room full?
I do that.
I know that you're magic. I know you do. I've seen your work for years.
thought
and
that's
years
all.
and years.
I'll take the time here.
Let's see what else. Languages. Okay.
Didn't bring you.
Yeah, I think it's time to start. We have enough people here.
Yeah.
More than, yeah, more attendees
More than the
than the presenters, so it's better.
Yeah.
Good number.
Right, hardcore, interesting folk.
Yeah. So yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for staying with us until the last day. And thank you for those joining us online. My name is, it's not there, but Marcio Boto, and I'm a senior knowledge advisor at CAWST. My colleague Sunil, he's a senior global watch advisor here with me as well. And we will be the moderators of the session today. So I just want to present the agenda. Our session is divided into 6 activities and presentations. Each presentation will take approximately 10 minutes. And right after it, we have like 3 minutes for discussion, not discussion, but just question for clarification. Then if you have like big questions for discussion, please save them to the end of the session, and we have time for that. Okay. So following the 3 presentations, we'll transition to the hands-on part of our session, when you have the chance to gain a deep understanding of the sanitary inspection forms for household water treatment technologies. So in this session, we'll take you in a journey into the safety of drinking water at a household level. So for the first step of this journey, we do need to check if household water treatment technologies work in the lab. If the HWTS technologies do not work under the controlled condition of a lab, they don't work anywhere else. If the product performs well in the lab, we should check if they work under field condition and if the performance is still good. This is the second step of the journey. But if we want to check if the users are using the technology correctly, consistently, and continually, that's when we apply something like the sanitary inspection form to look for the problems and propose adequate solutions. So we're going to take you into this journey. And with us today, I have the honor to introduce you to this brilliant team of speakers. Our first presenter is Nick Beach. Nikki is here representing the WHO, and she'll be presenting a review of test data for product procurement considerations. Nikki is a public health professional with more than 20 years. Is that right?
Yeah.
20 years, 25. Of global technical and capacity building experience in water, sanitation, and health. After Nick's presentation, Caetano Doria and Camille Zimmer will be presenting their work in field challenge tests. That's the second step of our journey. Caetano is a professor at the University of Victoria, and he leads the PH2E lab. His interests and expertise are at the crossroads of environmental and public health engineering. Camille Zimmer is a recent PhD graduate from the University of Victoria in civil engineering. Her interests are in drinking water quality, water treatment, and public health. She's currently a Green Talents Fellow in Germany. Last but not least, we have Joe Persson, presenting her work on household water treatment sanitary inspection forms. Jo has just completed her PhD at the University of Surrey, where she investigated methods to support the increased use of risk management and risk assessment to drive water quality improvements to small drinking water supplies. Today, Jo is a senior policy advisor at the Drinking Water Inspectorate for England and Wales. So to start this journey, with you, we have Bichi. Let me pull out your presentation, Nikki, just 1 second. Yeah. Go ahead. When you have it, bring you all the way up here. Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's kind of the dreaded PDF.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't see it here, so I want to see it.
Oh,
If not, that's fine.
because PDF is always there.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's fine, yep.
But it was your
And then I
page
just-
down, yeah, it's gonna.
Okay, super. All right. Thanks, everybody, for sticking it out till Friday, and I appreciate the opportunity to be included in the session. Like Marcio said, I'm with, NSF International, but seconded to the World Health Organization, working on the WHO's international scheme to evaluate household water treatment technologies. And that in itself, you know, the scheme itself is a really great tool. So it's a tool we have in the toolbox. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Maybe you are in our session earlier in the week that Marcia and I were both in. And just to let you know, with the household water treatment scheme, why is that a tool? It's been a tool because we have this list of products that has been really useful for product selection during humanitarian intervention crisis needs, such as in Ukraine. It's important for large procurers like UNICEF to have some informed procurement so they can reference these products that have been evaluated on their evaluation list. But something I don't often mention is the value of manufacturers as well. So not only is it useful for manufacturers to have gone through the scheme if they're looking to expand into new markets, but also manufacturers who are building and innovators who are designing new things. It gives them some idea of what expectations are around performance. But moving forward with WHO, we're shifting from spending a lot of our resources and time on the laboratory evaluations and moving to helping to build national capacity so these can be brought in country, these evaluations. And with that, one of the things that the countries are probably going to look to is the opportunity to use existing data or data that's brought to them that's already been generated, right? To make a decision about whether or not the product is sufficiently performing in the laboratory to say, yeah, it can move in this country. And broadly speaking, you know, that falls into a couple of different things, you know, what's available in the report and how is that data generated? And so just today, talking a little bit about something WHO is building as a tool for those countries that will use this existing data is kind of a check sheet. What should they look for when they're presented with existing data? And again, broadly, that's sort of what's in the report and how is the evaluation done? And so general test report requirements, and some of these seem simple, but in round one, when WHO thought that reviewing existing data was going to be a large piece of what we were able to do to add products that are performing at some criteria to the WHO scheme to the list, we found out really quickly that, gosh, there was a lot of insufficiencies in the reports they were receiving, and we weren't comfortable being able to use those. So some simple things are simply like name and address of the laboratory so that you can understand where this took place, learn a little bit about that laboratory's ability to do this kind of testing. Household water treatment technology evaluations are a little bit of a different kind of laboratory work. Clear identification of the product that was tested. Why is that important? Because you want to make sure that if you're reviewing some data and you want to say, yeah, we understand that this product performs well. We want to make sure that that's the product that's representative of the product that's still in circulation. So good documentation of what was actually evaluated, is that representative of what's still on the market? And if not, what's the difference? Maybe the differences are minor, cosmetic. Maybe it wouldn't impact performance expectations, but maybe it's bigger, a different type of filter, different supplier, things like that. Dates, obviously, how old is this data? And what's included in that package? Do you have access to any of the raw data or QC data? Were positive and negative controls included? Just something that helps build the story. And then thinking about how the test was actually performed. In that test data that the report you're receiving, do you have access to the protocol or the methods used? What is the protocol for evaluation for the whole experience of how they operated the system, and what methods were used, including the methods of evaluation for microbiological analysis? Are they established methods? And if not, is there a lot of information about what those methods included? Replicates. Those of you who've heard information about, the WHO scheme in the past, you know that we test 3 replicates when we do the performance evaluation. Why that's important is because that is kind of the minimum number to give you a sense of if there's solid quality control. Monday, when we were in our session together and we dug into this a little bit more, WHO found out that a lot of the products that did not meet any of the criteria, I believe it was 8 out of the 51 evaluated, were because the designs were robust, or the formulations for a chemical were robust and adequate, to be able to perform to a tier, but quality control was not tight. And so 1 or 2 of those replicates didn't meet. So it's important to see if that's present. Duration of the test, was it just a single point in time, or was there time for like a filter to flow over a couple days? Test waters, that's a big part of evaluating household water treatment technologies. In the WHO scheme, it has acknowledged the fact that there's going to be a broad scope of what kind of waters these products may see, from something that is called a general test water in the WHO scheme's approach, which is mimicking a high quality groundwater, low turbidity, low TOC, that kind of thing, all the way to what's called a challenge test water, which is mimicking more of a surface water, high turbidity, etc. Is that represented? Because just testing in a laboratory RODI not only is not representative of field conditions, but also, like, is that water supportive of viability of the organisms in the test? Those kind of considerations again. And what is reported? Do you have access to the information about what that test water looked like? Even if they did it on actual water, again, have they provided information about what the test or the characteristics of those waters were? Challenge organisms. We all know the microbial groups of concern are 3: bacteria, virus, and protozoa cyst, right? Have they included all 3 if they're saying that their product does all 3? And if they have, or for whatever they have claimed around those microbial groups, is the surrogate organism that they selected appropriate? And, have a little understanding of that. Is it something that's quite small if they're talking about how filters perform? Is it something that quite resistant to UV, for example, if it's a UV system? And oops, there we go. And then just the other details. When you think about how these things are operated, think about the use instructions. Has the laboratory applied the use instruction? If there is some pre-filtration through a cloth or something that's not part of the kit, was that documented as having been done? When did they sample from, say, a filter? Because when you sample, makes a difference. For chemicals, residual in the effluent water, that's important for a couple of reasons. One of the big ones is it so high that it's actually not great for drinking water because it's too high in the finished water, which might also speak to why it may have done really, really well. If it's really low or none, it might help you understand if it didn't perform as you thought it, some kind of disinfectant may, like, oh, I would have thought a chlorine would have done better than this. And then again, operational details, cycling, this filter cleaning and backwash is really important. If there is some mechanism to maintain or restore flow in a product, it's really great if you see that the laboratory did that, because you learn if that can be done cleanly. You can learn that if they've done that and they take a sample point for a microbiological challenge on the after side of it, it can be done, it can be executed and still maintain the integrity of that performance and can be done cleanly. Has there been any release that now is on the effluent side? Chemicals, did they document the wait time? And is that in line with what the use instructions said? Anything that would say, yes, this was evaluated, not in a way that would optimize performance in the laboratory, but is actually reflective of how the product is used. And so, just in closing, I think it's great if there's an opportunity to use existing test data. I think that that's a great way for the country to start doing these things in country, and a great way for manufacturers who've done testing to make additional use of that. But it's important to review that test data very carefully. And like I said, what we learned early in the WHO scheme when we thought, oh, this is something we're going to do, the information needs to be there to understand if it was done well and reflective of actual use. And that's all I got.
Thank you so much, Nikki. We have a couple minutes for questions. Oh, we got one question there.
As a practitioner, this is really, really helpful, and I was wondering where I could find the results of this.
Of the scheme? I will get with you later, just to make sure you have it from me directly, but if you go to the WHO's International Scheme to Evaluate Household Water Treatment, if you put that in on the scheme website, you can see the round reports. There's a round 1 report, there's a round 2 report, and pretty soon we'll be publishing the round 3s and 4 report. And I appreciate you being interested in seeing that, because there's a lot of really great stories in there about lessons that we learned along the way with the scheme.
Thank you for that info.
Yeah.
My next question is, so you obviously tested more on the tech side. Does this work? Does it not work? Did you test any of the social side, kind of the social acceptance piece?
No, and I appreciate you asking that, because we have heard, people's interest in that. And I think how Marcio kind of set this up was great. This is a laboratory evaluation, and the concept there was like, yes, absolutely. And there's been great studies that show how important consistent, correct, and continuous use is. Very, very important. In fact, it can be sort of a less robust product, but if it's going to be used in those ways, it can have more protection than a complicated, very robust 3-star products in some cases. This is just for a laboratory evaluation. And the idea here is there's no point in distributing something that doesn't at least work. And so it's part of that other conversation. So we love that others are looking at that. Thanks.
Just last question.
One quick question is, as you move from going to the scheme to moving into helping countries, is WHO gathering a database of at what level different countries are at? Because, Kenya is pretty high on, they've got KEBS in place, all those things. Mexico has COPA-PREs in place, but then a country like Bangladesh doesn't have any of those things in place. Do you guys have a database at which you list all different countries and at what stage they are in evaluation of household water treatment in their country?
That's a super question. That would be really, really very, very interesting. I'll have to let you know if that exists. What I know from the work that I do, seconded to this project, is that we have identified a few countries, a handful of countries that we do know has at least some regulatory framework. And it can be quite simple, or an incredibly strong desire to build one. And those are the countries we're going to start with, because those are going to be the places that we can learn. So let me get back to you about what they may have that has resulted in that list of smaller countries where I'm aware of that we're working in to strengthen.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, this was the first step, the first part of our journey. Then we're gonna go for our second part. And let me just pull here. Oh, yeah. I need to minimize this one. bring the. Just need to find the mouse here. There we go.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to our UNC side event. My name is Camille Zimmer, and I'm a recent PhD graduate from the University of Victoria in Canada in civil engineering, and I'm here to talk about some of my PhD work, which is on challenge testing of water treatment devices under field conditions.
And hi, I'm Caetano Doria, and I'm sad not to be able to be there in person yet again, but super happy to be able to participate and share this work at UNC. Alice Gentleman was also an undergraduate research assistant at the time of this work and is now a master's student with us at the PH2E lab at UVic. As you can tell, I wasn't able to set up the fancy camera work that Camille did. So to not leave you hanging, Guava, our group mascot, will be representing me.
Before we begin, just wanted to put us in context here. We're from the University of Victoria in Canada. CAWST is from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and there we have UNC here on the east coast of the US. So I'll dive right in. My PhD was centered on the question of how well do point of use water treatment methods really work. Usually this is assessed by a method called challenge testing, which consists of spiking a sample of water with virus, bacteria, or protozoa, or their surrogates. We treat that water with the given method, and we measure the number of microbes before and after treatment for a log reduction value, or an LRV, or an order of magnitude difference. And this question of how well they work, so the log reduction value, is usually assessed in the lab under standard protocols with a science nerd such as myself, usually under optimized or controlled conditions, even if the water is meant to reflect contaminated water. But as we can imagine, in real life or in situ, these methods might not perform as well as they do under lab conditions, even if the lab conditions are meant to be challenging. This is born in the literature. So we had a semi-systematic literature review published earlier this year. So we looked at lab versus field, or lab versus real life log reduction values. And for example, for chlorine disinfection, there's a 4 to 5 log difference between lab and field, which is quite substantial and guides the overall aim of my project, which was to develop a method under which point of use technologies could be evaluated as they're being used or under real life conditions. And yeah, so as my PhD took place during the COVID pandemic, we were not able to leave Canada to study internationally. So we decided to look at backpackers, so campers who were camping in the backcountry, treating their own water for drinking on the west coast of Vancouver Island in Canada. So what we did is we surveyed 144 backpackers on the Sombrio beach, as I said, with COVID-19. And we did, I don't know what happened there. We did a challenge test, which I'll talk a little bit more about and is the focus of this presentation. We also did a hand rinse to assess hand hygiene. We took samples of campers' personal water and we did a structured interview. So on the challenge test, since it wasn't feasible, we wanted to be as safe as possible because we were asking participants to use their own devices for challenge testing. The spike microbes had to be food safe. So as a surrogate for E. coli, we used actually a probiotic supplement, which is available in Canada and actually does contain E. coli, a non-pathogenic strain. And as a surrogate for protozoan pathogens, we used baker's yeast, so both safe for human consumption. We used field membrane filtration, so the mixed methods for E. coli, and we used Simplate, so pre-sterilized, pre-packaged methods for yeast.
A bit more on our field methods, which made this work possible without a lab during data collection. Once samples were processed, incubation had to be done off-grid. Here we use an off-grid incubator that was developed by Dr. Carolina Bernardes in Brazil for her water quality work in the Amazon, which was validated during Camille's master's. Here water is heated to 60 degrees Celsius, transferred to plastic bottles, and placed together with plates in a beverage cooler. This was sufficient for about 12 hours of incubation, and the process could be repeated as needed. Camille will show us a bit more on what was needed to complete this work in the field.
And we basically had a whole lab in my car that we would transport to the field, to the beach, and we would survey backpackers. And yeah, here's our whole lab set up with our undergraduate student there. Yeah, so on to results. Nearly all the brands that we tested performed worse than the manufacturer claim with respect to bacteria. So we can see the claims here in orange, and the data, each individual data point here in black from each individual participant. And the dotted line there being the WHO highly protective standard. Yeah, so it's not that surprising. That's what we suspected, but it is a good tool for evaluating technologies as they're being used. The other thing that I'll note for yeast, some brands actually performed better than the manufacturers claimed. And I think here it's worth keeping in mind that the manufacturer claim is an emphasis on the claim. A lot of the time there was no published data, there was nothing to back that claim up. So yeah, there's a space for that for sure.
So with that, I want to talk a bit about where we see this work going next. There are a lot of challenges to use this technique for in situ evaluation of point-of-use water treatment device performance. It would be interesting to explore how it could be used, for example, to be coupled with household-level sanitary survey type inspection forms, thereby identifying hazards that could contribute to reduced performance. However, perhaps a more promising application will be explored through a collaboration with Justine Rayner and CAWST. The idea is that it is challenging to send locally manufactured devices to labs to get them tested, but we can bring our technique to local manufacturing sites. By extending the application to these sites, we envision applications of this to be used to improve quality assurance and quality control and provide locally generated estimates of treatment efficacy. And finally, we also have ongoing work to develop some fit-for-context techniques to support this type of research. Firstly, we're working with FairCap in the evaluation of their incubator that uses a power bank. This is being evaluated by another researcher in our group, Rachel Boyer, who is supervised by Dr. Sarah Marks, seen here with the incubator in Colombia earlier this year. This type of work also generates a lot of plastic waste, so we're looking into how to decontaminate and reuse some of the consumables, like the plastic funnel. Lastly, through the JMP, we will evaluate the use of low-cost membrane funnel support prototype for membrane filtration. Thank you very much for your attention. We look forward to the question period, and also we'd like to thank all our contributors to this research, which includes BC Parks, University of Victoria, Pichila First Nation, NSERC, and the anonymous participants of our summer 2021 fieldwork.
We have Camille and Caetano in the call, so just 1 second. Let me bring them here for questions. How do I make this bigger? Not easy. Take care of it.
I just grabbed it.
Let me just see if Caetano is also here, so I can attend these. No, I don't see Caetano here at the moment, but Camille is here.
Yeah, here.
Is there any question from the audience? And then I can see if there's any question from the Q&A here. No question here. But we got, okay, three people want to ask you. Okay, Camille, is that okay? Can you hear us, Camille?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
And hi, Camille, awesome work. This is really cool to see this being studied. My question is, how much of a user error did you encounter, and what were the most common user errors that affected the water quality output?
Yeah, can you hear me? Is that okay?
Yes, that's good.
Okay. I would say the most common user errors included, so we encountered personal filters, portable filters, chlorine tablets and drops, and UV steri pens. And for filters, the most common thing was using a filter that was either too old or cracked and damaged, and or touching the outlet of the filter with their hands. With tablets, the chlorine, it was not waiting long enough for the contact time to drink the water. And for the steri pen, it was like touching hands in the water bottle with the pen. Those were kind of the most common things. But we tested a wide variety of different brands of devices. So it was hard to get real statistics on how much that impacted the water quality, because we had so many different manufacturers in there that it was kind of confounded. Yeah.
Thank you, Camille. The next.
I just wanted to compare that to what we see in big systems. So if you look at, for example, MBR systems, UV systems, membrane systems, and media filters, if you look at the work that you might have seen that being done out of Waterloo University, for example, on media filters recently, all these classical big engineering systems that big water utilities use, they have similar problems when they compare the field results a year after it's been installed with what they get when they originally commercialize the technology and sell it. So I think it's probably worth in your dissertation looking up a lot of those results that are often published. So that those, when you showed the results on your plot, it looked quite similar to what I've seen for those field trials as well. I mean, your methods weren't, your lab methods would be problematic to get through peer review, to be honest, because you're doing it at the back of the truck kind of lab. Those use state-of-the-art laboratory techniques in universities and rigs, but they found the same problems with state-of-the-art big engineering systems, with leaking O-rings, failed membranes, short circuiting, failed lamps, things that the big engineering firms are struggling with as well. So we shouldn't be overly critical of the point of use treatment given the state of those devices as well. So I think try and compare your results to those results.
Yeah, that's true. It's a common theme. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like when you see a recipe online and it looks great on the website, and then when you make it, never does as well when you try it yourself. Yeah, no, I agree. It's important also, yeah, to balance the messaging. It's important to still treat your water, even if it's not as good as what is advertised. I think it's more important for decision making to have more information about what works in the hands of the end user rather than in the lab. Yeah.
Thank you. We have last question.
Absolutely.
We
Thank you
Right
very
now,
much,
time.
Camille, for this very relevant research. I'm a manufacturer of household water filters myself. And we really struggle, like, how can we now do like proper field testing? Because indeed there might be differences. But what I note from your research is you've used outdoor technologies which do not provide a container for safe storage. So when our colleague here asked about like the user challenges, there was a lot of what I understood from you, recontamination coming from the hands. So it might be useful for your research to highlight that the point of use filtration that you have used did not provide any safe storage containers, because there might be possibility that actually providing a safe storage container at the filter might have a different result, because there's less pathways for recontamination due to dirty hands. That was maybe some thinking of.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. And we did take hand rinse samples to measure hand hygiene in the field. And we're still looking at those future publications.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Camille, for joining us and for answering the questions. Now we are heading to our third step of our journey, our third moment. Let me bring this back here. And then now we have Jo. She could not be here in person, so she prepared a presentation for us as well. So let me.
Hi, I'm Jo Hershen, and I've been working at the University of Surrey alongside CAWST to develop individual sanitary inspection forms for specific household water treatment processes. In this presentation, I'm going to give you some background into the purpose of the work and then talk you through what we've done so far and our next steps. Sanitary inspection is a tool that's been used for many decades to help identify and manage risks to drinking water quality. The WHO have provided a set of standardised checklists aimed for use in the field by various different stakeholder groups, including water suppliers, health authorities and regulatory groups. Alongside the sanitary risk questions, there's an associated management and technical advice sheet, and together these are referred to as the sanitary inspection package. As part of the revised small supplies guidelines for drinking water quality, the WHO revised the existing sanitary inspection packages for a dug well with a hand pump, a spring source, rainwater collection and storage and household practices.
Welcome back.
The existing sanitary inspection package for household practices supports to assess risk to collection, storage, treatment and handling of drinking water. However, specific household water treatment technologies have specific risks, and if they aren't operated and maintained effectively and efficiently, they pose a huge risk of recontamination. So we at the University of Surrey and CAWST wanted to develop a set of bespoke sanitary inspection packages to expand the breadth of these existing packages and to support those in the field to manage risks to some widely used household water treatment technologies. The aim of our research is twofold. The initial objective was to develop bespoke sanitary inspection packages for the most common household water treatment technologies. However, to do so and to make sure we have a consistent approach for creating packages for different technologies, we needed to come up with a standard process. This opened up another question. How do you develop a scientifically robust yet practically applicable sanitary inspection form? We couldn't find a documented process for creating a new sanitary inspection form in the literature, so our first aim was actually to come up with this process. Our second aim was then to test this process by applying it to certain household water treatment technologies. Brian Reed took the lead on developing a form for boiling as a proof of concept for the process using a simpler technology, and I took the lead on developing a form for household slow sound filtration to see if applying it to a slightly more complex technology might raise some different challenges. This work is being drafted for publication at the moment, so we'd ask you not to disseminate it further at this stage. We align the process with the Water Safety Plan methodology, as it's something that many people are already familiar with and has been widely accepted in the world of risk management. So to make sure that the sanitary inspection package is grounded in scientific rigour, but is practically applicable, the first stage in the process is to set up a team of people with theoretical knowledge and practical experience in sanitary inspections and the specific technology in question. The scope of the package then needs to be identified, which can be tricky for several reasons, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. To make sure that the package is scientifically robust, academic and grey literature should be reviewed to identify documented water quality risk areas related to the technology in question. And then, using all of that information, the first draft can be produced. Then we propose a review of this form by the wider community of experts and practitioners in the use of that technology and in sanitary inspection. And from that, a second draft can be produced using all the feedback we've obtained so far. We then propose field testing the sanitary inspection form by users in a few different case study locations to verify how practical it is and how useful they're finding it, so to find out its practical effectiveness before finalising and disseminating the final draft. So we then applied the process to develop a package for household slow sound filtration. Very briefly, this is a technology where untreated water is poured in the top of the filter and contaminants are removed through biological and physical processes as the water flows through the sound matrix. Treated water flows out of the outlet tube under gravity and into a safe water storage container. And this is the current version of the form that we've developed. So we've come up with a total of 16 sanitary risk questions, which cover the unfiltered water, the filter location, the filter condition, and the correct and consistent use. It's still going through final revisions, and again, it's not ready for dissemination, so please don't duplicate it further at this stage. We've also developed an associated technical fact and management advice sheets to go with these sanitary inspection questions. And it turns out that developing a sanitary inspection package is surprisingly complex and raised numerous discussion points along the way. So I'm just going to talk briefly through some of the key points. So firstly, retaining the simplicity of language whilst incorporating an adequate assessment of risk, especially when trying to encompass different designs, was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. The language needs to be simple to facilitate translations, but particularly for a technology like household slow sound filtration, there can be some technical terms which need to be used, and also they might vary by designs. Then linked to this, we discussed whether for household water treatment technologies, every installation should be inspected, or if a selection of representative installations would suffice, with key findings or remedial action taken on a wider level. But then this would affect who would potentially be doing the inspections, because if every installation is to be inspected, it may be more likely to be a householder due to resourcing constraints. This then also led us to question how the household water treatment sanitary inspection forms might fit with existing sanitary inspection packages and wider risk management. So how is this overall process managed? As I mentioned earlier, defining the scope was quite a tricky activity. For example, do we include raw water contaminants, which might be carried over from the source water risk assessment? Is the collection container included in this form, or should that be in a storage form? Do we include manufacturing or design issues? So there's quite a lot of scope discussions to be had. One of the key challenges that we faced was that sanitary inspection forms should, by definition, contain objective questions, but for many household water treatment processes, the way in which the technology is operated or maintained are key risk areas. This was one of the most difficult areas for us to address. How do you maintain the form simplicity, but include maybe process tests or how the filter is used. So how do we encompass this behavioural element into a form which is traditionally objective? And then finally, leading on from this, we don't want users to be so concerned with what the form highlights that they might actually stop using the technology altogether and bypass the treatment process entirely. So what training is needed in both how to do the inspection, but also what to do with the findings of the inspection. Because we really wanted to create a useful form which really drives remedial action to reduce risks to drinking water quality. So our next steps are, we've got some further field testing of the forms, which is being led by Marcio. And as I mentioned, I'm in the process of drafting a publication of the work so far to disseminate these results. And then CAWST, I believe, will be leading on applying it to other household water treatment technologies. And the final point to consider is also how this work can support with adapting sanitary inspection forms, because they should be adapted for the local context. So some of this work can help with how to adapt sanitary inspections, but further research and guidance is kind of needed in that area. So as I mentioned, this work really is a collaboration of many different partners and has required input from lots of different experts and practitioners. So we just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who's been involved and provided some really valuable input so far. So thank you to them, and thank you for listening, and I look forward to discussing later on in the session.
Joe is also here with us. If we have questions, I always get confused with not the side, yeah, there you go. Let me pull. Do we have any question for Joe? Yeah, we have 3 questions, so I'll pick up 3. First, gentleman here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I saw the mention on the form of observe process of less than an hour, so I wondered what the estimated implementation time of each observation is, and whether that's influencing as well the thoughts of not only how many units should be tested, but who's actually carrying these forms out.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I might need that question repeated, but I think I got the gist of it, but I couldn't entirely hear it.
Of course. The basic question is, how long do you think it will take a enumerator to carry out this observation, to fill out the form?
Okay, so I mean, essentially, sanitary inspection forms should be relatively quick. They shouldn't be hugely onerous and time consuming. So that's they should be yes, no questions. So they should be relatively simple and quick to respond to. So it shouldn't be a long sort of process, but a quick yes, no sort of checklist. But that is one of the challenges that we found with the household sand filtration form, is that certain things, as I said, are behavioral elements. So so that can be a little bit more tricky, and that's kind of one of the challenges, I guess, that we've come up against. So in theory, it should be simple and should be quick, but that's kind of one of the difficulties that we've come up against.
Yeah, I also would like to add something on that. Those are binary questions, yes or no. Should be quick, easy, but we're also assessing the knowledge, the practice, and attitude. So it's not just by observing something and then check. So there's also like a question to observe and also to ask the user. So it's not like going to the water source and then you observe something that a fence is missing, like infrastructure like that. But so it's gonna take a little bit more compared to, but we're going in 2 weeks to Cambodia to test those forms as well. It's gonna be the first, and we also tested in Guatemala. It was a pilot test, so it took the implementer 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes for each household. But it took a little bit longer because they had to, there was like a general information in the first, and they said, we should do this before we go to the field, so we can know which household we're gonna visit, then we can fill out the general information beforehand, and then once we get to the household, we just go directly to the questions. That would be faster. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on this work. When will it be available? Probably. And my other question is, would this be possible, for instance, to be conducted online as well? Like through a customer care or after sales service team, just to have a general idea. I think that would be really helpful.
You mean online, like an electronic version?
Yeah, like by call center, now calling the customers, and going through these questions. Or it might be something, if you finalize this form, maybe you can validate like, okay, this can be done online, or, because it would really make the use of this format much more cost effective if you can just do it from a call center.
You want to take that, Joe?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of sort of the academic side, I am hoping to submit it for publication as soon as possible. So then it kind of is up to however long the peer review takes. So hopefully a matter of months, but yeah, we all know how long peer review might take. So that's in terms of that side of publication. But then in terms of sort of online, I know we've talked about putting it on the mWater platform.
Joe, I think we lost you. Well, yeah, connection issues. Sorry.
If I tell the online platform might have problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Online can be tricky.
Those are phone lines.
Yes.
And considering the respondent as well, right? Their knowledge level, the language, and their IT systems, phone, internet. Yeah.
Yes, sorry. What is the other question? Camille? Oh, I'm sorry, not Camille. Joe, can you hear us? Sorry, Camille. Joe. No, Joe is not with us anymore. Yeah. So what was the other question? The next question is
Digital.
Yeah, maybe we can help.
Yeah, so just in general, when you develop sanitary inspection guidelines, what you often find is that many of the questions you're asking and many of the observations you're making actually shift from the sanitary inspection part of the water safety plan into the operational monitoring part of the water safety plan. And so it's worth thinking about whether those observations should be made every time the person uses the device as part of their day-to-day operational, day-to-day personal use, and not just as a once in a 5-year or once in a year sanitary inspection. So the guidance, you might have a subset of those sanitary inspection activities that should be undertaken daily, weekly, monthly, and become part of operational monitoring under your water safety plan, rather than becoming just a sanitary inspection, which by design, by the definition of sanitary inspection, is usually done periodically by an engineer or something. It's not usually done by the user.
Yes.
But operational monitoring is done by the person in day-to-day contact with it.
Of course.
But often it's the same activity. So I think you might retitle it, sanitary inspection and operational monitoring activities, and look at the main difference is the frequency and the skill required for doing them.
It would also translate now in a checklist, a user checklist.
It needs to be a checklist.
You just, you make it in a sticker, and you stick it on the product, and you just have like a daily checklist.
That's great.
Then we have how you call it, monetary operation system.
Operation monitoring.
That sounds really.
Joe,
The jargon term is operational.
were you able to get the question?
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, sorry about that. Sorry for dropping out. I didn't hear the question, but I can hear that you're discussing the sort of term. What should we be calling the inspection form? Is that correct?
Not really.
So I think what it is when you look at the water safety plan, the biggest failure mode in water safety plan is not lack of upfront development, it's lack of implementation by the user. And so the suggestion we had was that a lot of these items that you've got in there could be removed from a sanitary inspection or transferred from a sanitary inspection checklist done by an engineer or a sanitation expert, and could become part of a daily checklist
and by the householder, that then gets reclassified as operational monitoring in the water safety plan. And that helps to mitigate the major failure mode in water safety plans, which is the implementation.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that kind of is the kind of complexity with household water treatment, as well as how much emphasis do you put on the user and how much emphasis do you put on the sort of installation or the community manager to sort of look after these installations. Because if you've got, say, a biosand filter in a school or a community, who's then in charge of that? So I suppose that kind of then raises all those sorts of questions as to who is actually the day-to-day person responsible for managing the treatment technology. But yeah, I agree that this is where we've also discussed how do these fit in with the wider water safety plan methodology in terms of management, proactive management of that risk. So no, that's a really good point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Joe, for being here with us, answering the questions. Oh, we have an online question?
No, the one I asked about.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's one question. I totally forgot your question. Sorry, Lisa. Joe, there was one question from Lisa about, Lisa, can you repeat the
I'm
question?
not sure if you heard my question, but we did not hear your answer. The question is, can this form be used by a call center that just gives a call now to the customer?
That is, that's something that at least I hadn't considered. Yeah, I'm not so familiar with how that would work, but I guess in theory, I'm not so sure, because a lot of it is visual checking. And I think that's the other thing that we discussed is you could quite easily go through it and say, yes, 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 or, no risk, no risk. But then part of it is actually seeing, is there a risk or is there not a risk? So I suppose in theory, you possibly could say yes, but then you need to be confident that the answers that you're getting actually do mean that the risk is low. So, but that's not an area I'd considered, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know if there's time or resources, but if the form could highlight like which questions would be done online, for instance, it would really help implementers to reduce their M&E costs.
Yeah. No, that's valuable point. So I'll have a think about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Let's move to the practical part. Sorry. I don't know this. Oh, just in the mic. Okay, then now I need to come back here, this side. And oh yeah, I need to move that back. Just 1 second. Let me see if I can get this out here. Yeah, there we go. Now much better. Now we want you to experience the use of the sanitary inspection forms. Please use the QR code to access it's a boiling sanitary inspection form. But first I want to apologize you because it's supposed to have like here with the hard copy, but I didn't have that time I couldn't print them on time. So I decided to include this version onto M-Water and make it accessible for you. So if you find any typos, please ignore them. I uploaded the question late last night. So using the M-Water, please fill out the form while I'm playing one video here. I'm gonna put the video. Have you got the form? Okay, so I'm gonna put a video. The first part you can just skip. Just go to next because you don't need to fill out the general information, GPS, location, things like that. But I'm going to play a video here, and then this is my colleague Brian Reed. Please observe, see how he's doing it, and you can go through the questions and do your best to read the questions and if you see that there is low risk or high risk, if the word is clear. Hopefully we can see but it would be like the household demonstrating how it's being done, and then yes. I hope you have time to go through the questions, and if you want to discuss, if there is anything that you want to mention about this with your colleague next to you, while I set up all of our neat technologies here that we can discuss a little bit more about the other technologies. So the idea is, right now we have developed two forms. One for the household slow centrifugation, which is the biosynth filter, and for boiling. We are in the process of field testing them. And after that, the idea is to develop for the other technologies: membrane filter, ceramic filter, chlorination at a household level. I want you to help us in this process and to experience how is it the process of thinking about those questions, about identifying the risks, the critical risks of these technologies. So let me pull this back here. So many things to and
some idea, what did you see?
So how many? I think we can be divided into 4 groups here. It's our last activity, and let me go to the other. Oops, sorry, I need to. Let me. Okay, so can we divide into 4 groups? Maybe one here.
Okay.
2, 3. In the back, here that would be great. In another group here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, 1 group here, 2. If you can move, help. 3. Here. 1, 2. And then what I'm gonna do is who wants to take a look at the ceramic? You? No, not you. Who wants the ceramic? Anyone want to choose? No? Try this one? Okay. Thank
I've already seen it, but I thought it was the full price.
Right. Who wants the membrane?
No, but I'm wondering.
Membrane? Some water? Okay, I'll just put it here.
Well, I'm sure it's not gonna cause user error in the form.
Membrane.
So I give them this one.
Yes, membrane, and who wants to think about chlorination?
Go back to the customer. when you-
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, it's really like that. No, you completely use.
And so the idea is, think about it. The top 3 critical risks that you can think about the technology that is sitting in front of you. So think about the risks of this technology being used, how you assess in the field, what type of question that you want to consider. Would you assess this risk by observing or asking the householder? How do you think about just by looking at the questions that you saw with the boiling form? Take a look at the technology. Oh, by the way, thank you so much, Business Connect, for providing the technology for the session, the products, sorry. So Business Connect is here supporting us with this session today. Yeah, please take 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Talk about this.
First risk.
This associated with using the technology at the household?
Yes.
Yeah, while using the technology.
While using technology.
Well,
What
we
kind of
have
risks
to
can
test
come?
water and use it as well as milk. Oh, it's already so.
Here's one of the.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, if you could please write down a piece of paper, that would be great. Because it's also gonna help us.
Tension across it, right?
Yes.
Sorry, everyone, if you can write down in a piece of paper, that would be great.
You won't really see
It's not always. Yeah, yeah. But it is something.
Right, but it is a tight rating.
So we have to.
And the water goes straight down the side of it.
And as well as.
Well, ideally, there'd be an alignment, like you have to maybe an arrow here, and an arrow here, and then there's 2 alignments.
Yes, but you can feel the hands have nothing maybe. Speed is very around it.
There's,
30 minutes. Oh.
I would think it has to align. But I think that's the.
Right.
So you go, I mean,
No, absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, no.
Have to be in line.
But for chemicals, yeah.
Yeah. How will we treat it? Right, it's grab it there to, it's like grab it close to the water.
And then-
That is important, then potentially wash your hands.
Volume is it?
We don't want this thing. What is with the online doing?
Right, yeah, I think that's. We generally comes with those syringe. After each use, I agree, it's very.
Every time.
Every day I take time at school.
Maybe every 10 liters. That's a very frequent.
Once a year, like, oh, it's almost 50. So there's. Yeah.
well, so.
Yeah.
What about secret other members when you notice the flow? Like my job.
Not only language.
It's very strange. Oh.
Yeah.
I would say the other thing, although you have no idea of remembering.
Yeah.
You have no idea of remembering this in good shape or fracture.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
I know about it. No, you could have invisible definitions still of that.
Exactly, yeah.
It doesn't have
And- Yeah.
Sort of fair space.
The container is important. That's the series responsible, right? Not only that, this, what is the container before there's so many current. Yeah. So.
We're going, there's no problems.
Well, I think one of the.
Other than these, what about the old fish?
Yeah. Yeah. They stick it and getting the dipping the things on.
Yeah, so they help combine it.
Yes.
Yeah. How do
Can you, is it, you know,
Yeah.
same. Yeah.
It's only to find a way of reducing the contamination.
Something like that.
How that's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Unless every time before you take 5 years, you get some blood.
Yeah.
As needed and after every use, you know, even more.
So ours, you know, I guess.
I think you've got a house, one I see. But you told me that directly from the tap with the.
Yeah.
Touch it. And go.
But that is, yeah. Also, yeah. Yeah. Is.
Yeah, I was coming here.
And on the source better. That's like the last thing. If I did it, I'll do there. I now. You know, in the manner of. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, not, you can now say, it's been done instead, because in the US, at school, in toilets, for everything. Oh, yeah. And also, you have to be sure. So now you like, it's one around the. Or a lot around this word, something to protect as well.
It's very much child and
Right, like a shit.
And is that.
Each three.
But yeah, it's like generated. Yeah.
I said I'll take pictures.
I don't know how.
Couple more minutes and then we're going to discussion, okay?
But in terms of sanitary, I think cleaning of this little container.
You know, what the operational.
Only well water, that's good, but not critical for water safety.
But I do think there's always slowing down. Because it's very well.
Is there covered?
They could have a lot of stuff.
Is there?
It will.
Is the
And
storage covered?
right, it's probably, you could have additional contamination when you add raw water.
That is one, number two, it also. Clearly, it was important, life expectancy of water.
Yeah, as well as the life. The lifetime of the.
But I think that's a question on this, you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Just, yes. Of course, the other is cleaning those, all your surfaces here, right? All the surface, including the bathroom. What else? And I guess, how can you identify that? You wanna look inside this? Do you want to ask the family about their cleaning procedure? I guess they will be something that, I guess, open-ended question. You want to ask them to describe their cleaning procedure? Identify.
Residual. Yes. Here's the question is, check how it's installed. Sometimes also here, people install the
Yeah, I think that this one is, you can't install it backwards, but there are other.
Are they accepting?
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
When they're working basically, and it's very,
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Some like it because they feel safe. Yeah.
But then you're talking about lifespan, those spider ones that don't last. I don't have sample.
And washing, no, I think I wasn't, you know, I thought it was fine, this says, now it's the same as you said, you don't have to do the box. Like, now my.
Wash their hands, yes.
Now you have to put in the head screen that you're quite covered, so that there's.
It's down to this one, is it empty, is it empty? And they have it all.
Yeah, so much. Yeah.
It's a visual.
Yes.
But let's reset ourselves.
Thank you, everyone. We need some time for discussion and for sharing your highlights. Okay, who wants to go first? Just provide like quick highlights about the key, maybe key questions, critical risks that you identify. If you're going to use this technology, if you can, please be okay here.
Yeah, can everyone hear me? Okay, very good. I'm getting a microphone. Thank you. Okay, oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, so we had the AquaTab product and we were discussing the different potential risks of use with it. A big thing we talked about was just knowing the instructions, and if the instructions were unclear, then the user might not be using the product correctly. So the wait time for chemical disinfection wait time, and if they need to stir, what's the correct dosage for the volume of water that they have, all of those things, the expiration date of the product. So a good question that we thought is it expired is a very straightforward yes or no question, or another one, are the instructions understood by the user, which is a yes no question, but I know that could also lead to a lot of other that could lead to a longer discussion with the user. And then also the water quality, because we know with chlorination that turbidity and the presence of protozoa might make the chlorination a little less appropriate. So asking, is the product appropriate for the water quality? Which then might require further testing and more lab supplies. So some of these questions are not as straightforward as we'd like. Yeah, I feel like that's a good amount.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a challenge for the field to assess those questions, but something that could be done is like demonstration. The user can demonstrate how he does or she does. how they do it. So it's an option. Next one, please. Here, the Uzima team.
Appreciate it. So in terms of critical risks, we really thought about user interface with this lovely pair of buckets. Nobody have notes. That may or may not be.
That's great.
So one is that the membrane filter itself here is just, there's no indication of when it's tight, right? You might install it, not get it hand tight, and then have leakage happening around the edges, right? You're letting unfiltered water into your containment without any ability to visualize that happening. So I think the identification of risk would literally be pull the bucket out, see if there's anything dripping around the edges with it full. Additionally, are we using the instructions here on the side? All right, let's have the other one. Indicate hand washing, which seems to say you should be washing your hands with filtered water from the unit. That may be a chance for additional contamination around the tap, right? It seems like there's a way to really improve user instructions there, and that may be asking the families about whether they're using this water for hand washing. And again, to your point, clarifying the instructions. And then finally that, right, trying to keep us short here, that the membrane filter isn't something that actually has a visible lifespan, right? You don't know if your membrane is in good shape or not. There's no external indication of that. And so how do we figure out what's an appropriate flow rate? Beyond microbiological testing, I'm not sure if we have an easy determinant whether the membrane's in good condition. You hear a rattle, I don't know. Those who are more familiar with technology might be able to identify easier methods to field test whether it's in good shape.
Thank you. I think that's the key question. What is the proxy? You know, how we can identify the indicator for membrane filters? So if they're working on that. Next one, there's a ceramic.
Yeah, thank you everyone. We're looking at the Davos one, and then some of our identifications here are similar because kind of bucket and bucket kind of system, though they have the same kind of installation protocol. So in case the user has to change the filter itself, and then they're not being able to tighten it properly, whether or not there will be risk of recontamination, like water leaking through the system. But one good thing is the bottom one is noticeably transparent, so they might be able to observe if it is leaking. But that is also something that we found could enable algae growth if there's something, some kind of pathogens leaking into the bottom one, because termites can go through. So, and because these are made of plastic, and I have experienced the same thing, I think we all have experienced similar things in the field, that they can crack easily, because they can just fall off, like, because these are being used by small children from a variety of age. So and it is full of water, if it is falling, like tipping over, there's a small crack, and we're not following up on those things, then there might be contamination problems. And also, these are not particularly like a full draining tank. So if it dries out, like if there's a situation then that you are not using it for, I don't know, like 5 days, and it dried out, and there's some leftover water at the bottom, and it's not emptying out because the water doesn't go all the way out, and there could be some biofouling buildup, and these would be building up at the corner, like the bottom corner, what we would obviously not see and not scrap out. So there could be some problems there. So some of the risks can be identified by smelling the water or by looking at, like one of the, like on the lead they mentioned about the filtration rate of the filter, but maybe we can instruct them or train them, like, can you look at the flow rate from the tap? Like if it's going down, maybe something is built up on the in the crevices of the filter in the home tap, and then you can figure out something is wrong. Or you can smell the water if it is fouling or any kind of foul smell. That would be one indicator. You can look for cracks regularly. Like those are the very basic ones, but it can be all of it. And,
Thank you. Great. In our last group.
Yeah, so we have the F200 filter. So similar to the other risks identified with the filters, again, replacement time and not seeing a visible lifespan, with the filter. And then, also possible micro repairs in the backwash system on this. So from increase or decreasing water flow, you may potentially know that. But again, it wouldn't be visible to the eye perhaps. And then the water would still remain clear. So unless you're testing the water, you won't obviously visibly see the bacteria. And then also areas in the self-maintenance of the filter, and a possible storage risk as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I want to finish this session by asking everyone if you are interested in supporting the development of the other sanitary inspection forms. So just 1 second, I'm always get confused with this. So yeah, I just want to also mention that the forms that we have presented, the one for the biocentrifugation, the household slow centrifugation, and the volume one are not completely finalized. So they're going to be tested. And the question that right now we have 16 questions for the BSF. It might reduce to 10, 8, we don't know yet. So we also want you to stay tuned because you can also use that QR code and it's gonna take you to a simple form if you want to get more updates on the sanitary inspection forms, on the development of these forms. Please just fill out a simple form, very simple, short, and then we will contact you. And if you are interested also in help us with the field testing, the development, please contact us and just fill out the form. Yes.
One thing we discussed in that group, when you complete this form, it would be so nice if there's a feedback loop.
Yes, that's a good idea. And we are also thinking of this.
Like, okay, you have 80% chances of correct usage or so. So that you don't lose on that moment of, education or giving feedback.
No, yeah, the idea for in the field is to also leave behind like material resources, like, oh, you have completed this like 80%, the risk is minimal, and how to actually take the actions. Depending on the type of risk, the action needs to be immediately taken, depending on the risk that has been identified, you can do something easy and quickly at the moment of the visit. So there's also the process of what's next. One thing is collect data, but the other thing is how to take the action and make sure that the water is safe for drinking. So that's the purpose of this whole journey here, the lab, the field challenge test, and the sanitary inspection forms, we are assessing the behavior component. The idea is to make sure that the water is safe for drinking. That's the purpose. But great idea. Thank you. Oh yes, one more comment and then it's 10 already.
It's just interesting, like in this filter here, it has colloidal silver in the filter, so that silver leaches through. So your question, your risk about the water that's left in the bottom, there is colloidal silver in there that should keep it clean. So the point being that these are not things that are normally listed in instructions. So you might not know these things. So I think the question would be, maybe that is something that should be in the advertisement so that people, so people know exactly what you're.
Like to understand the treatment process themselves.
Sure, that's great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here with us the last day, and thank you for those joining us online. And a round of applause to everyone. Thank you, speakers. And so
And
The
yeah,
session's ended.
and please join the SWTS network.
Yeah.
The membership is free. Membership is free. We'll have more discussions on this. Information exchange.
Thanks again for all the speakers and for Business Connect, so for providing the products that we had a chance to play with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sarah, question. Can you bring the field test? I'm sorry, did you finish that?
No, yeah.
I just, I was curious, when you do the field testing of the inspection forms, is it just qualitative, like you're just wanting to get feedback on how they interact with the form, or are you testing like water quality to see if it matches the, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe think about moving this one, maybe change that. Just this is the idea of others. Assessing questions and make sure that.
Straightforward. But also